What's up, guys, and welcome back to the LittleScaleCars YouTube channel. Today in the review box, we have an all-new for 2024 Hot Wheels Mainline casting. It's the Honda S800 Racing. Now, this casting has been a little bit tough to find, but not terribly hard to find. So, let's take a closer look at it and see if it is worth trying to track down to find. Getting started with our casting. Taking a look at our proportions, I'm happy to report proportionally it is pretty good. I don't think it's true 1/64th scale, but overall the proportions are still looking good. There's the real life car up in the top right corner for you to compare. Now let's take a look at our casting up close and personal. So first things first, pretty much everything that you're seeing here is going to be metal. The base is well hidden on this one. There's not a lot of plastic over, like, reaching into the main body panels or anything. We do have the exhaust as part of the base poking out here, but that's kind of to be expected. When we look at the actual, like, body lines, we have the door handle casted in here. The door is actually, like, really crisp. That seam is really good. Making your way up top and looking down, these are casted in. The windshield wipers are casted in. This kind of line that runs down, this is not a casting seam. This is actually supposed to be there on the real-life car. I believe it was silver. Hood casted in really nicely. Front details are all casted in really nicely, and they look good. Making your way to the back, again, this kind of trunk has the, like, latches there, looking good. Little antenna thing, I think. And then rear details, again, casted in really nicely, really crisp, looking very good on the casting overall. For the paint and deco, so this is basically a real-life deco. You saw it earlier on there. We do have the same number with the number 25 there, looking good. However, a few of our sponsors are different, and they are put in different spots. Up in here, there's some different ones missing around here, and then there's one missing, at least one missing from, like, up in this section. Overall, though, still, I think it's still a pretty good first choice, since this is, like, mostly the only deco this car is really well known for in its racing trim. Moving into our details, and oh boy, this will be a quick one. So up front, we have absolutely nothing. In the back, we have absolutely nothing. So down the side here, we do have these nice wheels. I'd forget what the wheel type on this is. I think that these look really good and were a really good choice for the casting, but I have seen some negativity regarding the wheels. Back up to the up front, though, like we talked about, it's all casted in very nicely, but it was completely and totally neglected when it comes to getting any kind of tampo treatment whatsoever. And same thing with the rear. Again, very nicely casted in, but as far as tampo or paint treatment of any kind, there is absolutely nothing to speak of, and that is extremely disappointing. Moving into the roll test, this being a Hot Wheels Mainline, it should be no surprise that it rolls extremely well. Put this one on the scale, and it comes out to be 36.64 grams. So, despite being a fairly small casting overall, it has got a lot of metal to it, so it does have some good weight, putting it above the average for a Hot Wheels Mainline. Pros and cons, getting things started with our pros. This is going to be the easiest, cheapest, and I think the only way to add the Honda S800 Racing to your collections. It's the only one I know of in the 1/64th-ish space, and it's definitely going to be the cheapest one. The second pro is going to be the casting itself. The level of detail put into the casting is very, very nice. There's really just a good attention to detail there. I just wish they could have highlighted that with some paintwork. Moving into our cons, though, we will highlight the singular issue of the casting itself, and that is this nasty, nasty casting seam right up here. It almost looks like that's like where a driver's name would go. And personally, I thought that mine was just an error, but looking at the other few that I have found in the stores, they all seem to have that seam line right there. And it's just a really odd and obnoxious seam that just does not look good. I hope that they work on that for future releases. And you already know what's coming. The second con, the lack of tampos up front and the lack of tampos in the back. At least one of those sides should have been done. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some other Hondas that you might have, with the Honda CVCC from Matchbox and the Honda Prelude from Hot Wheels. And here we have it with some modern kind of track toy street cars, with the Lotus Exige S from Tomica Limited, and the Porsche Cayman GT4 from Hot Wheels Premium. So with all of that out of the way, it is now time to give my overall scores. The hype level for this one is going to be a 9.4 out of 10. There was a lot of excitement for it, and it has been relatively hard to find, but not impossible. Execution, I'm going to give this one an 8.8 out of 10. That casting seemed docked it a little bit, but not that much. But the complete lack of front or rear tampos was really not too good, so it gets docked heavily there. Community input gave this one to the council, and they were pretty rough on it as well. Again, everyone's complaints, same as mine, with the lack of tampoing. Saw a few complaining about scaling, and again, some mentioned the wheels. So that'll end up as a 7.4. When we add the three category scores together and average them out, we are going to end up with the overall score of 8.53 out of 10. A well-earned score for a casting that's actually really good, but the detailing and the deco job just left something to be desired overall. Overall, I think at the mainline price point for the $1.25-ish, I would still highly recommend this one. It's definitely worth still picking up, especially if you have any sort of painting talent and you can just paint those details on yourself. But if you just can't handle the lack of detailing and tampo work, I would say just wait and hope that the casting goes premium, because if it does, that's going to look extremely nice and definitely something to look forward to. And with that, guys, that will wrap up this review. That's all I have for you. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.